Bearcats fans, what is going on? This is Neil Meyer with the Front Office News, checking in live here from Razorback Stadium, where the Bearcats just took on Arkansas. Ultimately, they fell 31-24, suffering their first regular season loss since 2019. And what can we say about today? This atmosphere, everything about this atmosphere, this stadium was environment today was outstanding. But overall, the Bearcats came out and had to play with a top SEC talent. Obviously, Arkansas came into the season ranked 19th overall, and they proved why they're like that today, led by KJ Jefferson, who is a 6'3", 245-pound quarterback, and he's not just a pocket passer quarterback. He is a dual-threat quarterback. He can beat you in the air. He can beat you with his legs, and he's a dynamic player in all aspects of the game. But coming into this one, the Bearcats named Ben Bryant their starter. So Ben Bryant was coming back in from Eastern Michigan a season ago, now comes into Razorback Stadium, gets his first start to kick off the 2022 season. But Ben had a rough start early on today. As the first drive, he went 5 for 5, all the way down into the red zone before he threw his first interception, where the Arkansas defensive back McLaurin made a great read on Ben Bryant, and he took it back to midfield, but the Razorbacks would capitalize early off that interception, take an early 7-0 lead. But overall, the Bearcats trailed 14-0 at halftime. They just couldn't get anything going offensively, as they had plenty of opportunities to do so to cut back that lead. I know right after that first touchdown by the Razorbacks, Ben Bryant came out, settled back in, and he had the opportunities. There was one drive where he missed Tyler Scott on a little post route in the end zone, and then he also came back the very next drive and missed Jaden Thompson on an out route. And I think if you connect on one or two of those, they're both momentum-changing plays here at Razorback Stadium. But overall, the Bearcats went into halftime trailing 14-0 to a very talented Arkansas defense. But the storyline of the first half was the missed opportunities for the Bearcats. And on top of that, you look at Arkansas's talent on the offensive side. You have KJ Jefferson, who is a dynamic quarterback, like I mentioned earlier, can beat you in many ways. But they brought in a guy named Jaden Hasselwood this season from Oklahoma, where he led the Sooners in receiving yards. But in the first half, the Bearcats really did a great job limiting him today, as going into the second half, he only had one catch for 6 yards. So, like many talented receivers the Bearcats faced over the last 2 seasons, they didn't have much success early on versus the Bearcats. But coming out of the second half, the Bearcats were starting to fire on all cylinders. Came right out. Ben Bryant found Josh Wiley early on in that drive, and the Bearcats just established the ball downfield. They got the first touchdown of the season was a 5-yard touchdown run from Corey Kiner right up the middle of the Arkansas defense. And man, Kiner is everything they said he was. He's a powerful running back, and we showed why he was what he brings to the table. We all saw him in camp. We all saw what he was coming in to do, and Kiner really improved today, especially after having to step in after losing Ryan Montgomery to injury. And Coach Fickle confirmed it after the game. It sounds like it was an ab issue, a rib issue, or something along like a lat issue, somewhere in the oblique area kind of thing. So that's something to keep an eye on. But outside of that, the Bearcats fired in, cut the lead to 7, and then they fired back the very next drive with a touchdown to Nick Mardner. But it was after Arkansas came down and Trey Knox got another touchdown for the day. So Bearcats were facing a 21-7 adversity early, and then they came back in and made it a 21-14 game following a Nick Mardner 35-yard touchdown. So Ben Bryant had a shaky start. I believe he finished the first half with about 85 yards or so in the air. I think he went 9 for 15 in the first half. Then he came back out the second drive of the game, second drive of the second half, and he just dominated. He was lighting everything up. I mean, yeah, he did miss a few throws, but he connects on some of those few. This isn't even a game. The Bearcats could have put this thing away early in the second half if they were starting to connect on all cylinders after the missed opportunities. But in the first half, the Bearcats had plenty of opportunities to put the points on the board. After 2 missed field goals from Delaware transfer Ryan Coe, that's really 6 points hanging off the board. One was 25 yards, and the other was a 48-yarder right off the top right, upright. So I think if Coe connects on those field goals, this could be a different outcome, but you can't just blame it on him. Bearcats overall handed Arkansas this game today. But they'll be back, and that's a true testament on the road. Like, it's not easy to come into a stadium like this filled with 75,000 fans for week 1. But the SEC faithful really showed why they like their football, and their crowd brought it today. But overall, the Bearcats settled in the half. Ben Bryant finished 26 for 43 with 325 yards on the day, and it has shown that Ben is coming to make this offense a high-powered offense and really like to throw the ball. Finished with 2 touchdowns as well. Obviously, he had that interception early in the game. But outside of that, Ben Bryant really settled in the second half. Yeah, he had some throws he wishes he could have had back. But overall, it wasn't a bad performance from the Eastern Michigan transfer. Obviously, the first one's not just going to be the easiest. That's going to be the one you got to get your feet wet. But overall, solid performance from Ben Bryant, in my opinion, than I thought. Tyler Scott led the Bearcats in receiving. He finished with 5 catches for 77 yards, and he probably could have finished with 150, 200 if he connects on some of those deep balls, because he was cooking the Razorback secondary today, and it was known. He was open on many routes he had tonight. So keep an eye on Tyler Scott down the future. Josh Wiley, as I mentioned earlier, finished with 5 catches, 38 yards. Corey Kiner had 12 carries for 59 yards and a touchdown. So the Cincinnati native kid gets that first opportunity to come in and be that lead back after Montgomery stepped down due to injury. So Kiner really had to step up in that aspect. But let's talk about the defense here. The Bearcats defense was one of the top defenses in the country last year, and we all know that. But coming into this one, the way they finished tonight, the first 7 or 8 drives after the first touchdown for Arkansas really elaborated on the defense, resulting in punts, forcing the Razorbacks offense to give this ball back to the Bearcats, and the cards were in the Bearcats' hands, and that's a testament to how deep this defense is. I mean, you look at the linebacker room between guys like Will Huber and Ivan Pace today, they combined for 18 tackles and 4 tackles for loss. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And Ivan Pace, tremendous performance for his first day in the red and black. Obviously shows why he was one of the top transfers in the country. So came in, he finished with 13 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, and an absolute boomstick on KJ Jefferson. And everyone knows KJ Jefferson is 250 pounds. So the way he laid the boomstick like that, followed right up with the Jaquan Shepard sack off the edge, the Bearcats defense was rolling. I mentioned Jaquan Shepard. Jaquan Shepard's looking to replace the roles of guys like Ahmad Gardner, Kobe Bryant. Really had a great day today. He had 9 tackles on the day. And outside of that, Shepard really had a good day. He also had a sack and a tackle for loss. So look at the day Jaquan Shepard has. We talked to Coach Fickle earlier in the season and earlier this week, and he mentioned Jaquan is one of those guys where he has earned everything. He has been through everything that has been thrown his way. So it was great to see Jaquan have a great performance like today. But look at the depth this team has. Final part for this video, as the defense really stood tall. Look at the guys highlight like Dante Corleone, who stepped in tremendously. The Bearcats defense showed why they continue to be one of the top defenses in the country. So now the Bearcats fall 31-24 here at Razorback Stadium, but they will be back next week at Nippert Stadium when they welcome in Kennesaw State for a 3:30 kickoff, as they look to get their first win of the season and bring back the Bearcat Ruckus back to Nippert Stadium. So this is Neil Meyer from the Front Office News, and I'm checking out.